Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. It is our Feed the Four States telethon. The phone bank, as you can see, is set up right now in our studio where we're ready to take your calls. You just phone in a monetary pledge of any amount, and 100% of that money will going to be divided among local food pantries to help people in need this Christmas season. All right, the number to call is 1-888-620-4869. 1-888-620-4869. We're going to tell you more about the Feed the Four States project here in a bit. First, though, a look at some of today's news. Doug, thank you as always. Crosslines Ministry in Joplin teams up with Feed the Four States to help those in need this holiday season. KOM's Carrie Worthen stops by and talks with Crosslines.
I don't see canned goods. I see people's lives. Just like you came in. I see you getting a can of green beans, which we think it's not very much, but if you're hungry, green beans is a lot.
Rodney Rambo is executive director of Crosslines, and he says there has been a decrease in both financial and physical donations this year.
A lot of people who would typically be generous aren't able to be as generous due to struggling with inflation. Also, folks really responded so strongly in the aftermath of COVID with being generous that we've seen a little bit of a dip since then, and unfortunately the need is still really high.
Rodney says Crosslines feeds about 2,000 people a month and cannot do it without the help of donations.
A lot of people are super thankful and blessed that we're able to help them. A lot of them are low income, don't have a lot of job security, and so they need help with just being able to get food on the table for them and their kids.
And we had people on every other Thursday come in, and they said they couldn't get by without the pantries itself.
Lots of four-state families say they depend on Crosslines Pantry, and the pantry depends on you and your generosity in the season of giving. In Joplin, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
The Crosslines helps families with food, of course, but during the holiday season, they have toys as well. Every monetary donation you make tonight, big or small, makes an enormous impact because it helps prevent hunger. 100% of the donations go to buy the food for local food pantries, places like Crosslines and Wesley House. You can call 1-888-620-4869 to make that donation. You can also make a monetary donation online at komnewsnow.com/feed. Joining me now is Rodney Rambo, Executive Director of Crosslines Churches in Joplin. We just saw Rodney a few minutes ago in that story that Carrie Worthington put together. But, you know, Rodney, you can never talk too much about a need that's affecting so many people here in the four states. And I would imagine even more so this year, huh?
Absolutely. This has been an incredibly challenging year with inflation, the high rising cost of goods just across the board. A lot of families finding themselves in need of coming to a place like Crosslines for the first time.
You mentioned there's psychology involved with donation. You raised some good points. You know, with COVID, people were so generous, COVID and so forth. But now, you know, the wallets have gotten thinner.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think we've seen a little bit of donor fatigue, but at the same time, a lot of the people who are very generous to places like Crosslines are just normal working people, and they've felt the strain this year just as much as those who are coming through the door. So it's been a difficult year, both in terms of need and what's coming in.
For people who are saying, you know, I really don't have that much to give.
Yeah.
Again, say every little bit helps. I don't know if you have an example. I've heard the example of $1 can make so much of a difference.
It can make a huge difference. For us, we have unique buying power because we buy in such bulk. So when you donate $1 to Crosslines, that's the equivalent of you taking $5 to the store. We can stretch that 5 times farther than you can because of the buying in bulk and the unique partnerships we have. So your $1 donation, that little faithful donation, goes a long way.
And these people too, you mentioned how it's not easy for them to always come to a food pantry, isn't it? A lot of times they may feel embarrassed, huh?
No, absolutely, yeah. But the truth is that we serve people, over 80% of the people that come into Crosslines, of nearly 2,000 people a month, are folks that are working. They're employed in some capacity, probably not that much different than the person sitting here watching this. They've just found themselves in a crisis that really any of us could be in. So, Crosslines is a place that serves folks that are working really hard and just need that extra hand up at that time of need.
Teamwork. You can and you do go out as an individual organization asking for funds to help with food and so forth. But how much does a team working with Fox 14 and KOM and us working with you, how much teamwork does that mean?
Crosslines exists because of teamwork. We just celebrated 40 years, and Crosslines was started because a group of local churches decided to partner together 40 years ago. And since then, with community partners and the continued support of the faith community, we exist only because of teamwork. That is the definition of what Crosslines is. It's where the lines cross, and we meet the needs of those in our community.
Rodney, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
We
We appreciate it.
Hey, still plenty of time to call us and make a monetary donation to Feed the Four States. The number, you see it right there, is 1-888-620-4869. 100% of the donations go to buy the food for local food pantries. You can also make a monetary donation online over at koamnewsnow.com/feed. Doug is next. We're taking your calls right now to help combat hunger right here in the Four States. Get out your credit or debit card and make a monetary donation to Feed the Four States. The number, see it right there, is 1-888-620-4869. 100% of the donations go to buy the food for local food pantries. You can also make a monetary donation online at koamnewsnow.com/feed. Now we have a few people we want to give special thank yous to. Bertie Tilburg of Joplin gave a $100 donation. We thank you, Bertie. An anonymous person from Joplin, $100. Thank you as well. Elmer and Mary Thorns of Carthage, Missouri, the Maple Leaf City, $50 donation. Thank you as well. And Justin Garvin of the Car City of Webb City, Missouri, giving a $100 donation. We thank all of you. And you can still call in, too, if you haven't donated so far. Still plenty of time to participate in our Feed the Four States campaign. The phone bank is set up right now in our studio. See it right there, where we are ready to take your phone calls. You just phone in a monetary pledge of any amount. Any amount is important. And 100% of that money is going to be divided among local food pantries to help people in need this Christmas season. That number is 1-888-620-4869. And a special thank you to Linda Dishman of Joplin, Missouri, for her $50 donation. Linda and Darren, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Well, a lot of four-staters rely on food banks, and this time of year, budgets can be tight. One of the area food pantries partnering with Feed the Four States is the Wesley House in Pittsburgh. The Wesley House is the largest food pantry in Crawford County, serving more than 5,000 residents. KOAM's Amber Jenkins explains.
The Wesley House in Pittsburgh is the largest food pantry in Crawford County, serving more than 5,000 residents.
We see a lot of our individuals and families every single month that come through, and they're coming often with, with other members of their families, with other neighbors as well. And this is definitely a big part of what keeps their shelves and fridges stocked from one day to the next.
The holidays is one of the most popular times for donations and volunteering.
This is always a time we usually see more engagement across our food pantry services because folks are hosting more, or they're thinking of those that are in need as well.
The Wesley House is thankful for the increased donations this holiday season. Last year, donations decreased.
Data from last year, we actually didn't have quite as much engagement, maybe because of stimulus checks, and then if we take into the account of inflation and the cost of food, we have had more people enrolling in our food pantry services every day. And in addition to that, we also have not been able to order as much from the Kansas Food Bank as we usually would.
Providing food for a fellow neighbor in need can go a long way.
For someone to be able to succeed, for them to be able to think beyond those basic needs, we have to meet those basic needs. And so having food on the table and being able to cook your own food and essentially, food pantries kind of provide a sort of grocery, aside experience.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
You have the chance to make a direct impact on fighting hunger right here in the Four States. The number is 1-888-620-4869. 100% of the donations go to buy the food for local food pantries. You can also make a monetary donation online at koamnewsnow.com/feed. It's been a real struggle for many four-staters to put food on the table, bare necessities, particularly within the past few years because of inflation. Well, you can make a difference by donating to our Feed the Four States campaign. Just call 1-888-620-4869. Every amount of money helps. You can also make a monetary donation online on our website, koamnewsnow.com/feed. One last wave, guys. We encourage you to call if you haven't. A special thank you to an anonymous person, $250 donation. We so much appreciate that generosity, but we also want to say again, every amount of donation helps. So please